Jikoi Kurudu axis. I mean, it's fantastic.
No. When Wike descends on work, work has been descended upon. Give it to him.
We must say it, and so that others will follow. But the sole part of this credit is that while the government, ministry, the FCT is doing its part, giving us structured quality road.
Yes.
The outlets, the local government councils, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything. I mean, if you go to AMAC, I don't know what AMAC, the new AMAC chairman is doing. Yeah. Because what he should do now is to take the roads, into the communities so that the drainage that Wike is building, you understand, would have, easy access. But if you don't have good roads, to your communities, and then the flood coming from the communities, pour out onto the highway again.
No problem.
So we are sending a very good, strong message.
No problem. Let's not denigrate him till you have handled the matter reportorially. Take a mic to him. Let him tell us his own part of the story.
But we are seeing.
If you don't have time, send him.
No, but we need to. We need to let people know.
Isaiah said, "Here am I, send me." I have to say so.
I don't know what. Okay, let's talk about football. Eagles will defeat Zimbabwe Ekong Bost. See this. I just. What do you think? Let me
You know that I hardly talk Nigerian football. The glass house does not make me very happy. But I want to say that I like to see Siemens 2 girls the other time. Remember, one of them was supplied by my lookman. I think that they are not looking as flat-footed as usual. They are beginning to run on the balls of their feet, and I think that's going to make them do better. You understand? When people run like pap, we don't spoil. Pata, they don't play good football. But when they, when they are on the balls of their feet, the way I used to run, 100 yards. You should have seen me.
Oh yeah, it's simply.
What do you think, Victor? I know this is tough.
Nigeria will defeat Zimbabwe. Here says Zimbabwe will fall.
Nigeria will defeat
That's more like
Zimbabwe.
it.
Nigeria will defeat
We are playing
Zimbabwe.
in Uyo.
Chukudi, don't ask me. I know you will not ask how old I was then. In 1977, when we played Tunisia, it was a crucial match between Nigeria and Tunisia.
Odi. Own goal. Ernest Okonkwo was home.
Overconfident.
Are you sure you know
overconfident?
We're talking about?
I know what you're talking about, and I'm hoping that when you say
Nyere would not know what we are talking about.
We just need to. I think we need to consolidate.
When I say
this, and 6 points will do Nigeria's chances a world of good. It will take us to the top of the group.
I think we're redeeming what was going bad about our qualification.
You know why?
And I hope we sustain it.
I don't know why I have this. I don't know. I'm not a pessimist. I love the Super Eagles. I mean, we have a star-studded team. Yes. Everyone there is. I mean. Is a star.
Yes.
Is a star. So the Zimbabweans will come, see Osimhen and get ruffled. But we don't have what was Rufai's nickname now? Dodo Mayana. We don't have a Dodo Mayana to scare them. That was what the coach said.
Rufai?
Yeah.
Who's Rufai now?
Peter Rufai,
the goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper.
The one that would always gather them for prayer.
The one with the face.
Prayer before they started. As if the other team were not God's children. Nigerian people sometimes.
Anyway, we just wish our Super Eagles luck. The match is today. Victor,
prepare well for a match.
5 p.m.
And pray against injuries. Leave who go win to God.
All work must stop. Now, if you are in the studio, you have to stop and share the Super Eagles.
Don't listen.
All work must stop.
Don't listen to what Chukwudi says. Please pray. Please pray. Prayer is spiritual and it works.
And the other team,
it takes grace.
And the other team will also pray.
Yes, they pray, but it takes grace. It takes grace, uncommon favor,
which is sufficient for everybody.
You see this man. You see this man.
Go and play good football.
I don't want to talk anything. Sometimes they say, are you sure you're a Christian? Because I question some of the things we do. God will not be mumu. Work and pray. If you don't work and pray, Warrior 90 say you won't take win match, you are lying to yourself. The other team's not God's children. That's what I'm asking
by the time,
you.
Who created them?
I beg you.
Okay.
By the time you go that route, then we
My
have
friend
to bring out our calculators.
My friend for Binigo say, make I hear what
But again, just before we let you go, Victor Chukwudi, I didn't want to talk about this, but somehow 250,000 sign up to recall Natasha, and they get documents. I've been reading so many stories about the number of people that voted.
There are 580 of them that are, expected in that catchment and all that. The questions I ask as a journalist is, who initiated that recall? You see, a journalist goes beyond the surface. What is the purpose of it? Is it a way to counter Natasha? Are you sure it's a fair deal for her? I'm asking questions. No, I'm not investigated.
But Chukwudi,
yes.
Why do you want to ask who initiated it? Is it a way to counter? I mean, aren't there things that...
Okay, you stop being polite. You are just saying that I'm asking stupid questions. And I think you're right. No problem, my dear. You know me.
Well, I didn't say that
I am who I am here. I didn't say that much. No. Even if you said so, you would have said the truth.
I didn't say that much.
Okay. Yeah. Is it off, please? Is it off? I think there's a story again from the inside page of The Nation. Today, Chukwudi, we are giving you more than enough time.
I think you're using me to kill time.
No, we're not killing time. The producer is asking us to take a
week long.
Yes. So there's a story on the inside page, and it says, Wike distributes 10,000 bags of rice to Abuja residents. I don't know how many of you got the rice.
Well, I don't know what it looks like.
Well, it depends on whom the bags of rice were meant for. Because in Nigeria, you'll find out there are those who know the king more than others know the king. Are you
within the catchment?
Exactly. So sometimes if you think it's a free-for-all, this time I'm not talking about combat. I'm talking about sharing things that come from generosity. It doesn't always work that way. It still matters whom you know in Nigeria to get certain things.
Anyway,
the point again is Wike has done something again.
I didn't ask for an answer. It was a rhetorical question anyway. But here is what the rice said. It says that the rice was distributed. It's a bag of 25 kg rice to representatives of Muslim religious bodies, associations, groups, and special needs schools. And this was in Gwagwalada yesterday. So this is in Gwagwalada Area Council. So hopefully, Victor.
I am.
No, Chukwudi, you and I.
I am happy.
You and I live on the same axis.
I am happy for my Muslim brothers and sisters.
Yes.
They deserve it. And let me say this without sentiment. My child teaches in a Muslim school. The kind of things he brings home, to us, so generous. The packages are so generous. The other time he brought an entire leg of a ram. I said, is that how these people are? So it is time for us to give them. Let us extend all we can to Muslim brothers and sisters as they gradually come out of the fast.
Indeed. And Chukwudi, I thought this would have tickled your fancy. It's a small story here, but not small in implication.
Yes.
Foodstuff costs soar despite reduction in petrol price. Are you still buying your iron beans at the same amount?
I am happy I do not have an AK-47. Because I may not have restrained myself from looking for people who are opportunistic traders. Kingsley will talk about vampire market cartels. They have a feeling that there will be a rush to buy things after the fast and they want to cash in on it. Does that take you closer to God? You know, everybody, more churches and mosques are being opened in this country. But except if my survey is faulty, more sin is being committed. Who is trying to fool God in this country? You cannot mock God. It's not possible.
But I asked you because I wanted a practical experience, even though the blueprint report was a market survey.
Yes.
I was asking specifically whether you still buy your iron beans at the same amount.
We've not been to the market for almost 2 weeks now. We tend to do this stew and the egusi or the obolo so that it will last. we are going to go today, so I'll give you the latest, from the market.
You talk about vampire
market cartels. It was Kingslow Sadolo.
Yes, that reminds me. That reminds me of the story we ran on Newsline on Sunday night.
Okay.
And that, in fact, this phrase should capture the category of people who, add detergent in making fufu or akpu.
Claire,
it's true. It's true. we honestly, and the young innocent girl didn't even know that what she was saying, was, was wrong. She was speaking to the camera and said, yes, we first of all, when we remove it, we use Omo to wash them. That they use Omo to wash this.
And soak it in detergent.
Yes, in detergent. Just to give it that crystal white, color.
What is this, that they lack basic knowledge of hygiene, or they are willful agents of the devil? What is working there?
What I see, or what I saw from the face of the young girl, who was interviewed, ignorance rather. I mean, ignorance of the impact.
Somebody taught the young girl what you're talking about.
The mother was there and corroborating, what she was saying. The mother was there.
So this kind of arts, and that's why I said NAFDAC must be on its,
toes.
Yes, on its toes. NAFDAC must go to the hinterland, to the rural areas, where some of these are local, food are prepared.
Yes.
I'm just wondering how many people would have consumed fufu akpu, prepared from
and I did eat. I don't know how they made it, but I enjoyed eating the so-called loi loi while I served in Rivers State.
What's loi loi?
Loi loi is fufu. That's what they call it in Rivers. Loi loi. I enjoyed eating it with the native soup, the Rivers native soup, while I was in Rivers. I hope, if they did, I didn't, I don't think I have come out once.
Let's just say you were lucky.
The truth is, if they knew that what they were doing was wrong, they wouldn't happily speak to camera.
Exactly, that's why I said.
It's ignorance, and that speaks to the need for awareness, greater awareness. And NAFDAC has a job to do in this regard.
Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
Precisely. Let's quickly end.
From the way
we're now being asked to round off. But core members to get arrears of 77,000 naira, I said naira allowance eventually. So the NYSC will get the backlog of the newly approved 77,000 naira monthly allowance will be paid despite months of delay. The government also dismissed reports of any disciplinary action against a court member who criticized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on social media recently. I think this is good news for all NYSC court members.
We mentioned it briefly yesterday, and I still repeated what I kept saying. If there's anybody to pay the minimum wage first, it is the NYSC member. They are still forming opinion about this country. Don't let them get off on the wrong foot concerning how much their country cares for them. Please, your minimum wage is important. Victor's is. But for reasons of grooming people who are going to be positive about their country, pay those anywhere.
I agree with you on paying them, but I disagree when you say they are still forming an opinion. At NYSC, I don't think so.
Well,
they have their opinions.
Child and adult counselor, carry the day, no problem.
Let's end with this appeal coming from Fubara. That's is it former
governor of Rivers State?
Suspended Rivers State governor. Fubara.
That's better.
Yes.
Grammatically and realistically.
Yes. Suspended governor of Rivers State is asking bloggers not to destabilize Rivers with their posts. And he says, yesterday, he cautioned bloggers and social media platforms against heating up the polity in the state. He warned those dropping his name and purveyors of violence and economic saboteurs to stay clear of the state. And this is a warning, and I think bloggers and those on social media that are fanning embers of violence should take note.
Yeah, that's it, Claire. I like what he said. Let him show that he's one of the people building this country. Because putting us asunder is not going to help us at all.
Chukwudi, don't ask
I
for
wonder
more time
about
tomorrow.
the social cost of what was happening in Rivers.
Let's meet where we have to support the Super Eagles at 5. Have a great day, Chukwudi.
Thank you, Victor.
Don't ask for elongated time tomorrow. I'll make sure you do.
Good morning. Nigeria continues after this time out. Please don't go away.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in color, we stand guard in demand, we make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Each ethnicity is unique, we have more than the solution.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity, we know they carry love. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be a patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita, prepare them to win every day.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
Ìjọba fún wa ní 75,000. NIN ni àti káàdì ìlàsílẹ̀ ọgbà. Nígbà tí mo sì gbà, mo fi ṣe nǹkan tó dáa, mo ra oògùn nínú rẹ̀. Mo ra oúnjẹ tí màá jẹ nínú rẹ̀. Mo sì wọkọ̀ mi náà níbẹ̀. A sì fi yòókù ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ ajé pé ká tó máa rí dé bá. A dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ìjọba wa òkè.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Nets Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
The Nigeria Coat of Arms is the official seal that represents the authority of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, hung on the wall behind the seat of the principal officer of the government, supported by the portrait of the serving President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It has 7 features. The black shield stands for Good Earth of Nigeria. The silver wavy band stands for the confluence of rivers Niger and Benue. The 2 white horses stands for dignity. The yellow flora is a common wildflower throughout Nigeria. The red eagle stands for strength. The wreath is in our national colors of green, white, green. The motto, unity and faith, peace and progress, is written on a beautiful yellow ribbon, and it's a maxim for all Nigerians. Be a real Nigerian.
The counsel of our fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, Let's build our nation together.
Our major currency unit is the Naira, while the minor unit is the Kobo. They are both in notes and coins. The Naira is more than just a medium of exchange. It bears the images of our heroes. So, stop abusing the Naira. It is a criminal offense to spray the Naira at events. Stop stepping on the Naira. It's not your enemy. Do not squeeze, ruffle, or write on the Naira. Handling the Naira with dirty or oily hands can deface the Naira. Love the Naira as you love yourself. Be a real Nigerian. Do not abuse the Naira.
Nigeria is perched on a treasure trove of solid minerals. Gold, coal, tantalum, tin, but none is more critical to our future or the world's future like lithium.
Let's talk about illegal mining operations. What is our strategy?
Right, welcome back to the program. If you've just joined us, we welcome you. And we're starting with jailbreak in Nigeria, this time at the Medium Custodial Center in Kudankarfe. Now, reports say 12 inmates escaped early Monday morning, but 3 have been recaptured as at the time we had a report. Maybe 5, as a later statement from the Nigerian Correctional Service indicates. Unfortunately, an officer lost his life in the incident.
Really troubling, Claire. And in response, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunjojo, has ordered a full investigation into what went wrong.
And he also directed the Acting Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Sylvester Onwakuche, to conduct a thorough security audit to prevent future breaches.
Which is probably why he may not be here, because he's staying put in Kogi until they're able to rearrest all 12 that escaped.
Hopefully.
But this isn't the first time we are hearing about jailbreaks or attacks in Nigeria, whatever you want to call it. It keeps happening, raising serious questions about security in custodial centers and, of course, the management of it.
Indeed, and so we're joined right here for this conversation. Let me just first of all introduce Francis Enobore, who is a former public relations officer at Nigerian Correctional Service. Mr. Enobore, thank you very much for joining us. And it seems retirement is doing you very good.
Well, thank you very much for having me once again. It's always a pleasure.
All right, and our next guest join us via Zoom. Let me introduce first Kingsley Femi Fanwo, Commissioner for Information and Communications, Kogi State. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much for having me.
And just beside him there, we have our correspondent in Kogi, Jonathan Omajali, who also covered the event yesterday. He joins us also via Zoom from Lokoja. Jonathan, a pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Good to join you this morning.
All right, Jonathan, we'll start with you. You know, I know you reported the incident yesterday, but from what you saw, you know, just before we bring in the government official and, of course, our friend here in the studio, just give us bits and pieces of what you saw, what you thought, you know, were the main issues or what happened.
Okay, just to start with, I think the custodial facility in Kudankarfe is one of the facilities in Kogi State that often come under attack. Remember, we had one in 2012, 2014, and then 2016. That's about 9 years ago. At a point, the inmates were moved to the one in Kaba so that repair would take place. Then there was a new one that was built. So it's not too long. The new one, the new facility was put to use. So What happened here yesterday is not actually very, very new. I think it's something it's sad to say the people are used to, because when I went around and I tried to talk to the people, it looked very normal. It wasn't something very strange. But of course, just like we saw in that report, by the time I got there, everything was calm, though we were not allowed to go inside. But from outside, the security personnel, there were a lot of them who were there to ensure that the situation was brought under control. But just like I said, it's not new. It's just that in this particular case, we have a situation where it was not an external attack, unlike the previous one where it was an external attack. This one happened from within, and so sad, one of the personnel was lost. So I spoke with the PRO before this discussion, and he told me that for now, the search is still ongoing. I think we just had 3 who were captured. I'm not sure it's 5.
All right, Jonathan Omajali, but the 5 we got came from a statement which the Nigerian Correctional Service issued, perhaps after the CG, the acting CG had briefed the media in Lokoja. They updated. Of course, you expect that if there is a search going on, that the chances are there that more people will be recaptured. So we want to believe that that's the case because the statement came from official sources. But thank you very much for your input. But let me get that. He has raised some questions which I would like to push to the former National PR of Nigerian Correctional Service. You may not be there anymore, but I know you haven't lost touch with the system. If this is a jail, of course, the Nigerian Correctional Service recently tried to make a distinction between jail attack or jailbreak or inmates escape or whatever. At the end of the day, criminals, well, some are waiting trial, and all that left the place. I think that's the bottom line. This was from within. I know for a fact that when you are going to be remanded, whether you are waiting trial or whatever, you have nothing on you. You just have the uniform. And so, with what did they open? The CG said they manipulated the lock from within, from inside. How did they do that with bare hands?
It's unfortunate that the Nigerian Correctional Service is in the news for the wrong reason again. I thought after my last appearance, when next I'll be speaking in this studio, I'll be celebrating the series of positive developments that the Nigerian Correctional Service has witnessed in terms of inmates rehabilitation, reformation. You are all aware of the number of inmates that are now enrolling in the university program, graduating, some running their PhD program, those trained in vocational trade, establishing small-scale businesses of their own from the skill they acquired in the while in custody. Here we are. It has happened. For the news, it's understandable that bad news is good news. Now, coming to the concerns you raised, the information, I would say, is still skeletal. Yes, the Controller General, the Acting Controller General did report that the inmates manipulated the logs. From there, they were able to escape from custody. The detail, I want to believe, will still be unveiled to see what they used in manipulating the logs. Don't forget that smuggling of prohibited items sometimes. Some of these inmates could see breach protocol and bring in certain instruments. Some may look ordinary and may not make any meaning to you, but then to them, they will end up putting these things together and then they can use some of these locally fabricated tools to compromise locks. I remember several years ago when I was a junior officer, things as common as salt, table salt, we don't allow them into the yard. But to the man on the streets, there are some people they need additional salt to do. But you discover that some of them, salt, soda, soap, they can put them together, and then they use to they can use this material to compromise iron rods, you know, and over time they succeed in manipulating these things, and then they get escape. However, I still want to believe that the detailed report will be out in no distant time, and then the appropriate thing will be done. I want to beg of you that this conversation should be geared towards preventing future occurrences, because we have seen that there is a pattern in Kogi State. Right from 2012, it happened in 2012. 2 years after 2014, it repeated. Another 2 years, every 2 years, 2016, it happened. 2019, yes, that one was due to flood, natural disaster. In 2010, then in 2021, the new Kaba was also violated. And guess what? Kogi State has the least number of persons in custody throughout the federation. So it's an unfortunate saying that it has happened this way, but from every challenge, I believe a strong lesson will be learned. This time around, I will be expecting the authority to go into a kind of trend analysis of what has been happening in Kogi State. Go into, dust up the reports that have been written from previous encounters, intelligence that have been gathered before those incidents, by way of whether the locally generated intelligence or cooperating with the DSS, because I know Nigerian DSS, they can literally tell you the number of flies that moves in every day. So they can also generate, collaborate with these agencies, get useful information by way of intelligence, and do thorough analysis.
When you say authorities, who are the authorities?
I'm talking of Nigerian Correctional Service.
Okay.
It's good the Honorable Minister has directed the Acting Consul Nigeria to take charge immediately. And I am very optimistic because the Acting Consul Nigeria is someone that is highly experienced. He has virtually headed all the directorates in the service.
Mr. Nobara, let's put you on hold. Thank you for the points that you have raised, and for the optimism that you have expressed in the minister. But of course, we will get to see that in action, going on. But let's bring in Honorable Kingsley Femi Fanwo, who is the Commissioner for Information and Communications in Kogi State. Honorable Fanwo, thank you for joining us. I'm sure you listened to the narratives that Mr. Nobara, just reeled out. Are you concerned about that? It appears there's kind of a systemic or systematic, challenge going on at Kotankarife.
Thank you very much. I want to say that our focus should not just be on how to prevent future occurrence, but to also investigate this deeply and find out what actually happened. I think it's very critical to proffer solutions to averting future occurrence. It's quite unfortunate that some inmates could be said to have tied two officials of the NCS, and then one of them eventually died. And then they told us that they escaped through a tower. When a state security advisor went to the facility with the head of the NCS, it was discovered that the tower was even outside the fence. So there was no way a tower that is outside the fence could have aided their escape from the place. So we need a very thorough investigation. It is key. Yes, we've had a history of jailbreaks in the state, just like we've had it across the country, like the one we had in Kaba. I think there was a general consensus that we should have military formations and facilities around the custodial centers. That is what we have in Kaba now. And that's why you are not hearing about any jailbreak in Kaba, because the place is well protected. We need to protect the custodial centers. It is the responsibility of the system as a whole, not just the federal government, but the state government. And we've been working very closely with them. I'm very happy that the former image maker of the NCS said that Kogi is having the least number of inmates in their custodial centers. It also speaks to the fact that, are we putting the inmates at the appropriate category of custodial centers that they are supposed to be? I'm aware, I may not give all the details for security reasons, that some few weeks ago, some people had to be moved to where they should be, the facilities that can handle them. It is also critical that we look into that. You know, when you look at the whole criminology ecosystem, it is critical that we ensure that our custodial centers are safe for so many reasons. One, those who have been convicted by competent courts of jurisdiction should never have any illusion or impression that they could escape from the custodial centers. It will endanger the society as a whole. Secondly, when these people escape from the custodial centers, they become a menace to the society. They are very dangerous to the society. And Kogi is the society. And that's why we've taken very keen interest in this. When you say jailbreak, it might be a violent one, it might be a non-violent one, but the one that happened yesterday was not a violent jailbreak. And the stories are not just coming together. You cannot say people compromised the locks from inside. They came out, they went out through the tower was outside. We later found out that it was the goalpost they used for their recreational center that they broke and used it to climb the fence. So there is no way NCS can say that there are no internal collaborators. This is a clear case of internal compromise. And, we need to get to the root of it to be able to avert possible future occurrence. We don't pray that will happen again because just like we have been able to keep Kaba safe with the security architecture around the custodial center, we hope to be able to achieve the same thing at Kotun Karufi. And that's exactly what the Kogi State government is going to do. So we are joining forces with the NCS and all the security agencies to launch very deep investigations into what happened at Kotun Karufi yesterday, with a view to teaching a lot of people lessons that we must respect the fact that those who are made, those who have been convicted should serve their terms and should be a center where we don't only punish the inmates, but we should also be able to reform them. We should be able to reform them. We should be able, that's why it's now a correctional service. We should be able to make them useful to the society when they leave the place. So, and I will also say that from the psychological point of view, every inmate, the main intention of any inmate in a custodial center is how to get out of the place. So we should be steps ahead of their thinking, reasoning, planning, strategies, and all of those things. We should be steps ahead. We cannot sit by and let it happen. Then we will now, be running helter-skelter. So we must have a holistic plan and put in place a mechanism that will make our custodial centers secure.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Claire. Thank you very much. I can't help returning to Francis Enobere here in the studio. And the reason is that you are the closest to the authorities as it is within this setting. And I can't also help taking into consideration a lot of the things that Kingsley Fanwu has raised, a lot of the issues he's raised. Now, earlier you were talking about the chances that they may have got soap, salt, and they could fabricate lapses on the part of the Nigerian Correctional Service. Whether they were able to manipulate, if the locks got old, lapses on the part of the Nigerian Correctional Service. No matter if you talk about lack of intelligence, it is a given that Nigerian Correctional Service works with sister security agencies. And if you fail to do that, the joke is on you. And so, what exactly? I know that efforts are being made. I know that you have, custodial centers that are 100 years, 80 years, built in colonial era, and all of these are challenges. But what exactly? Why does it seem? You alluded to the fact that there are fewer, Kogi people in custodial centers. Yet, it appears that that place is the hub of jailbreak or jail attack, whatever you want to call it. So what are the challenges? Why does it seem that the Nigerian Correctional Service is unable to deliver on its mandate? Yes, you can talk about the welfare parts of it, the reformation part of it, but the primary thing is to keep in secure custody these inmates. What exactly are the challenges that are making it difficult for the service to do this job?
Well, yes, thank you very much. But let me tell you that for every one infraction that is open to the public, 20, if not more, have been averted through intelligence. But you don't expect the authority to come out to ring bell on those ones. However, whenever it happens, there is always a minus to the authority. I did mention that going forward, what has just happened may be a kind of propelling force that will cause the authorities to dig deep into the reports of previous occurrences.
This wasn't done in the past?
No,
because I know that each time there are reports, each time this is just over and over and over, except you are saying that these things you are recommending were not done in the previous cases.
Well, what I am telling you is that I have confidence in the new management because he is one person that has headed almost all the directorates in the service. And you can connect that with the speed with which I can confirm to you that 5 of the 12 escapees have been arrested. The number may have gone up above that, I wouldn't know, but I can confirm to you authoritatively that 5 have been, because he went there, took charge of the strategic structure to recover those inmates that are on the run. The detail, like I told you, will be unveiled later. But I want to tell you that the authorities will do more this time around with dusting up the reports of previous happenings, perhaps this time around, to connect with intelligence from other sister security agencies. What the scanning of the report of the scanning of the environment before any such incident, because there is what we call early warning signal.
Okay, just hold on. Before I ask you my next question, both of you and Honorable Kingsley Fanwu, I'd like to bring in Jonathan Omajale, if he's still with us, our correspondent. Jonathan, earlier on you talked about the behavior, the attitude, the scenario you found when you went to gather your information, and you said, I mean, it appeared that it wasn't strange to the people. Can you give us more? What do you mean by that? What did you see that gave you that impression?
Well, I think it comes from the fact that I remember I covered that of Kaba, the one that happened in Kaba, and the atmosphere was very tense. you almost couldn't talk to anybody. We had this very tense atmosphere when it happened in Kaba. Perhaps because it was happening for the first time in the area. I tried to compare that with what happened in Kutun and it looks like it was very normal to the people. In fact, I asked somebody, I said, yes, Jibril, can you talk to us about it? I said, well, he doesn't have anything to say, and he just moved on. You know, so the point is, just like I said earlier, we shouldn't allow it to get to a point where people become very comfortable with it, where people see it as one of those very common things that had happened. Another issue I want to actually talk about is the fact that Kogi State, commendably, has the lowest number of people in custody, just as you mentioned. I think one of the reasons we can attribute to that is the fact that the state judiciary is actually doing a very good job. I remember I was in Kutun in December with the chief judge. He went on this annual prison visit and congestion exercise. It's one of the activities that has actually helped to reduce the number of inmates, because sometimes we discover one of the reasons why we have this bloated number of people in custody is because some of them stay longer than necessary. You have people who are awaiting trial 2-3 years and nothing is done about their cases. So when we don't seem to have that scenario in Kogi State, and it's very helpful. I think we need to commend the judiciary and also commend the state government for that. It's also one of the things that we can ensure it happens periodically across the state, so that we don't have too many people in custody, because when we have that, scenarios like what we're having is going to increase.
I actually, wanted you to speak on the attitude, of the inmates and, of course, the correctional center officials. And I want to start with, Honorable Fanwu. Another here, had said, look, giving us, systemic jailbreaks or attacks or breakouts by inmates, from 2010 to 2012 to 2013 to 2014, 2016, and up to 2025. He says it appears within 2 years of interval. So this has been going on. And I'm just wondering, what has been the response of the Kogi State government, in all of this, from 2010, 2013, 2014, 2016, 2019, 2021, 2025? Is Kogi also complacent?
Thank you very much. I wouldn't say we are complacent, and we are also doing a lot to network with the security agencies. The Nigerian Correctional Service is not under the supervision of the state government. What is important to us is to work closely with them because their services are also very critical to the security and stability of the state. So I didn't know what government did in before 2016. I came into government in 2016, but I know that we've worked very closely with the Nigerian Correctional Service to beef up security around all the custodial centers in the state. And your correspondent will be able to attest to the fact that if you go to Kaba today, you see that we have a military formation just by the custodial center to be combat ready, to be able to forestall any attack on that center. We've learned our lessons, and we are working very closely with them, but we also need their cooperation for us to know their areas of needs and where they think the state government will be able to help in ensuring safety and security in those custodial centers. This is very critical to us, and the state government has done a lot with the Nigerian Correctional Service in the state to be able to guarantee the security of the custodial centers. We also need to look at the fact that some of these things are avoidable. They are not things that we cannot avoid. Like the one that happened yesterday, you know, the Nigerian Correctional Service, we have confidence in the new leadership of the service. We love the fact that the head of the service showed the action yesterday by being there on time and ensuring that as of last night we've gotten 5 of the escaped inmates rearrested and brought back to the facility. So this gives confidence to the society that we have a reinvigorated Nigerian Correctional Service, but we also need transparency of investigation. Whatever you find out from your investigations, let the people know. For instance, what happened in Kaba? Okay, have they made it public? If they are not making it public, it's not even a big issue because they have also put in place modalities to be able to correct that. You cannot be putting high-profile terrorists in custodial centers that were not originally designed to keep them. There are places that are specially designed to be able to keep these people. So these are some of the things that they need to look into. Like the one that happened in Kotonkarofi, I would say that from the information at my disposal, there are no high-profile criminals like terrorists among the 12 that escaped. And like I said, there are a lot of things that are not adding up there. So it is not entirely on the state government. The service should also come clean by doing what is necessary, what is needful. As a government, we are committed to supporting them to get it right.
Honorable Kingsley Fanwo, thank you very much for your comments. We'll take a pause from this conversation briefly, just so that we join our correspondent, our judiciary. Is it ready?
No, he's not ready.
He's
actually,
not ready.
Dele Atumbi is not ready. So I want to bring back the conversation, yes, to Mr. Onobore.
As a matter of fact.
Like I asked the Honorable, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I do know that you were a very, reliable spokesperson for the center when you were there. Sure. And then you were there when some of these, jailbreaks also happened. So, I mean, did the authority, did the center also just fold in arms? You talk about reports. What are those reports saying? And why have they not been acted upon?
Yes, record I did mention that for every infraction that is brought to the public domain, several others have been averted, through intelligence and all of that. However, what is more concerning is the disturbing, the frequency of violations in Kogi State.
But isn't that why it should have been dealt with by the system? Because you've seen it happen over and over.
Yes,
over again.
I'm coming to that. That was why I said this time around, let us look at it differently. The present acting Controller General, I want to believe, will not only dust up reports of past occurrences, perhaps we think of liaising with sister security organizations to get intelligence, the result of environment scanning, pre-incident and after the incident. Because before any such incident, you will pick one or two unusual movement, unusual congregation, unusual things that are out of the ordinary. And I want to commend the point raised by Honorable Fanwo, I guess. Okay, right. That from the report, those skeletons, that it may be difficult to isolate either compromise or laxity of officers. But be rest assured that this time around, whatever is pinned to any individual will be
But
appropriately
he did
addressed.
say,
Because in 2016...
Hold on, please.
Yes.
He did say that the correctional center needs to look and come clean. In fact, to use his words, to come clean. But do you think that there might be, maybe slim chances of, connivance, from the center's officials?
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think?
That's what I'm just going to say. That
yes.
if the detailed information points to any individual to be involved in the unfortunate incident, of course, the appropriate thing will be done. Because
are there chances that there might be?
Of course, yes. It's possible. Okay. It's possible. It's possible to compromise staff. It happened all over the world. I recall there was a time I had the opportunity of running a training in one of these Western countries. And when during the interaction, they told us how a male image was able to compromise a female image on the pretext that he was going to marry her and that he was very rich, this and that. And then the female image facilitated the escape of the male image. Eventually, when the promised marriage didn't work, the lady spilled the beans because she knew where the male image was hiding, and that was how the escapee was eventually rearrested, although the lady also lost her job. So it happened. You can compromise people. Training, retraining, capacity building, enforcing the law is what you use to address those
do you see that
issues.
In this Kogi? Because you have noticed the serial occurrence. So and again, Jonathan Omajale said, I mean, the inmates were just complacent about it.
In 2016, when it happened, when there was a jailbreak in Kotokari for this same custodial facility, quite a number of the personnel there were dismissed. I was in service there. They were dismissed. So the authority will not take would not cite anybody found complicit in the unfortunate incident. I want to believe, just like I said, the acting Controller General is capable of handling the situation, and the fleeing inmates will be recaptured. Also note that the biodata of inmates are now captured and warehoused with the office of the Controller General and so many other relevant offices across the country, added to the assistance we are getting from even the Kogi State government, the vigilante, sister security services. I am very optimistic that the fleeing inmates will be recaptured.
I have quite a number of questions for you, but that will be when we return from this break, just so that you can catch your breath and be ready. Please don't go away. The conversation continues after this break.
The Nigerian national flag represents our country's history, culture, and identity. It was designed in 1959. The colors are Emerald Green 2.0, which represents agriculture, and Immaculate White represents unity and peace. Know how to handle our flag. Illuminate the environment or don't fly the flag overnight. Do not fly a dirty or tattered flag. Take such flag to the nearest National Orientation Agency office for proper disposal and replacement. The national flag can only be flown at half-mast on the directive of the federal government. The national flag must be flown at the same or higher height when displayed alongside other flags. Don't burn or allow the national flag to fall on the ground. Do not print, decorate, modify, or insert the coat of arms on the flag. Our national heroes are not buried with the flag. They are honored by presenting it to their next of kin during internment. Respect our national flag. Be a real Nigerian.
This message was brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
The business environment, to be honest with you, has been extremely hard on most Nigerian women's businesses, and of course harsh for a number of reasons. There is no way you would increase or move subsidy and increase the price of fuel that it doesn't have the counter effect. It has been very challenging for so many women. I know that a lot of them have cried in one way or the other to us to find ways of intervening. But that is not to say that it is all doom and gloom. We will still have a few percentage of women that are thriving in this economy, but we hope that we'll be able to get a larger percentage. One of the things I've seen with even our local purchases now is that people are buying more made in Nigerian options of food, of clothing, and so on and so forth than the imported. So that again is helping some of our industries thrive. Surprisingly, the telecommunications is still doing well, and the reason is very simple. A lot of people are going for online options of skills in terms of training, communications, even remote working. And so you will see that people that provide services around those areas also thrive. But I think at the end of the day, it's about partnerships, collaboration, and influencing power from especially the private sector and even the public sector. But we really need the public sector to drive a number of things, especially policies, because the public sector has the national spread above even whatever we can do in our own small way. What has happened over the years is that even the government, for example, is being pulled from different angles by all these stakeholders. We need to harness ourselves to have strategic focus areas, and we should all be moving in the same direction, not using a competitive approach, but a collaborative approach. Secondly, in collaboration, we need to move with large clusters of decision makers. Instead of, the process of reaching out to individuals is painstakingly long and it takes time. And so we need to engage these stakeholders on a larger platform. I think it's very important to identify where you can get help in your own little way. And one of the things I've realized is that when you operate in silo, it is difficult for you to lift yourself out of the situation. Identify ways you can do what you are doing in a simpler way. And if what you are doing is no more profitable, why not find out what can you do in the meantime that will help you? You need to think outside the box and then connect. What you can do is also identify people and become a cluster to provide a service that ordinarily you cannot do alone.
Welcome to Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis, a TV series dedicated to aging and older persons in Nigeria. Be part of this series and discover the transformative programs crafted to give a new lease of life to our senior citizens, courtesy of the National Senior Citizen Center.
The National Senior Citizen Center is the oasis for the senior citizens.
For thought-provoking discussions on aging, geriatric social care, and issues that matter most to our senior citizens.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis.
Silver Oasis.
Tune in to Silver Oasis on the network service of the NTA every Saturday at 10:05 p.m. Silver Oasis, improving the quality of lives of senior citizens.
All right, thank you for staying with us. This is still Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. And just before we continue our conversation on the Kotunkarfe jailbreak, which occurred yesterday, I understand that our correspondent, our judiciary correspondent, Dele Atumbi, is ready for us. He is at the Federal High Court and has an update on the case between Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan against the Senate. Dele, good morning.
Good morning, Victor and Claire. The truth of the matter is that the matter before the court is a sub judice matter. However, we can give the background to this matter. And in one of the plenaries of the National Assembly, that is the Senate alleged misconduct against Natasha Akpoti to be looked into, and that the matter will be looked into by the National Assembly. And beyond that, during the process, on the 4th of March, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan ran to the court to stop the Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions Committee from investigating or from probing into the alleged misconduct. And the court gave an interim order that the National Assembly or the Senate should stop the probe into or the investigation into the alleged misconduct during the plenary. And now, the issues before the court now will be, one, the first one will be, does the court have jurisdiction over this matter in line with Section 4 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended? Would the court be relying on Section 4, subsection 8 of the Constitution, which gives the court the power or jurisdiction over the legislative process? And at what point does it percolate for the court to have jurisdiction over the matters or proceedings in the National Assembly? These are the issues before the court. And another issue has to do with the issue of contempt. I am aware that Section Form 48 of the Federal High Court had been issued, and Form 48 has to do with contempt of court. Could it be true that the order of court, which was issued on the 4th of March, was served on the contemnors, that is the clerk of the Senate, the Senate President, and the chairman of the Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions? If they were served, and Senate went ahead, if they were served on the 5th, and Senate went ahead on the 6th to suspend Senator Natasha Akpoti-Duang, it is for the court to decide whether it is contemptuous or not. So these are the issues before the court. As at the time I'm talking to you, all the parties are expected to appear before the court, and if they appear before the court today, the moment they appear, I am aware the issue of jurisdiction of the court would be addressed, and the court would definitely take a stand, because the moment you raise the issue of jurisdiction of the court must address that matter pronto, so that it will have access to be able to adjudicate over the matter. If the court lacks jurisdiction, the court cannot address the matter. But there are plethora of cases on this matter that had been decided in the past. But we are not to go into it, because we are not expected to to go into the matter before the court, because the issue is sub judice.
Already, Dele, thank you. You've already warned us by saying that the issue is sub judice. So we'll just refrain from further questioning. And thank you, and hoping that, of course, when the matter today is over, of course, we will now be able to speak more on that. Dele Atumbi, thank you for joining us from the Federal High Court.
Dele asked us several questions, whether this, whether that, and I wonder those questions will be better answered from his end.
He was just warning us. He was just warning us. So let's quickly, bring in Honorable Fanwo, into our conversation just before we wind down. Honorable Fanwo, at the moment, what is being done, to again secure the facility, the Kudankarfe facility, at least for the time being? What's the state government doing?
Thank you very much. I am aware that a conversation is ongoing between the State Security Advisor, Commander Jerry Madara, retired, as well as the head of the Nigerian Correctional Service, and all the security chiefs in the state, the Commissioner of Police, Director of DSS, the Commandant of the Civil Defense, and all of them. They've been having the conversation since yesterday with a hope of raising a stronger security architecture around the Kudankarfe Custodial Center. That is what is ongoing right now, and it has the full blessings of the Chief Servant of the State, His Excellency Alhaji Ahmed Usman, to ensure that the place is well secured. We'll have to wait for the investigations and also look at the ongoing conversations at improving security around not just the Kudankarfe Custodial Centers, but all the custodial centers across the state. The fact that we have fewer inmates in Kogi custodial centers shows that our judiciary, just like Mr. Jonathan said, is doing a beautiful job, and it is also a very big commendation to the state government for bringing down the crime rate in the state. Not just that, I would say that the issue of jailbreak, the former image maker of the NCS has been talking about the fact that the thing seems to be endemic in Kogi State. You know, Kogi is not even in the top 3 of the states with the highest number of jailbreaks in Nigeria. But we don't even want to be in the top 30. Our hope is to ensure that the custodial centers in our state are kept safe. And like I said the other time, we are ready to work very closely with the service to ensure that custodial centers in the state are safe.
So, Honorable Kingsley Fanwood, thank you very much. I just thought to mention that when you say NCS, you refer to the Nigerian Customs Service, because the acronym for the Nigerian Correctional Service, NCOS, with a small o. Thank you very much. But let me get back to Francis Enobore, and let me put it pointedly this way. How much of a problem is overcrowding, understaffing, funding a problem for the Nigerian Correctional Service?
Well, to start with, the issue of understaffing, personally, I would say is one of the biggest challenges that the service is passing through. You now have officers doing non-stop 18 shifts. And of course, you know it will amount to job burnout. And the performance definitely will dip. We talked about structural integrity. Yes, it's already well known that most of the structure that the Nigerian Correctional Service still rely on to hold hardened criminals of the jet age or the computer age is they are the ones that were inherited from colonial masters, even though there have been efforts here and there to upgrade some of them, and then the concept of 3,000 capacity is also there. Then funding, which is another huge task, is a problem. Like I always say, security is not cheap. For you to be able to hold hardened criminals in custody to allow socio-economic activities in a community to thrive, you have to pay a lot more attention that we are seeing today. Some of these facilities, if you are talking, it's not just the structural integrity. There are security enhancers that should be present in these facilities. If you go around our facilities in Nigeria, how many of them can boast of 18 hours power supply throughout the night? How many of them still have light supply to be able to monitor environment and then know if anything unusual is going on?
How many have CCTV cameras?
How many have CCTV cameras?
You know,
So,
we keep going this
issue
route.
of
Sorry, we keep going. The last time you came, we also talked about the issue of technology. You know, CCTV cameras and all that, and we keep saying the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again. We can't get new results if we keep talking about, you know, next time. I don't pray there's a jailbreak next time. But I just want to ask, what do you think could be the attraction for jailbreaks? Is it willing connivance, or is it that the location of Kotonkarife is such that, you know, makes for, you know, easy escape? Because I see the destruction. I'm just wondering, this is an inmate destruction. It's not, they're not aided by external attack. So how is it that this kind of destruction, you know, can be done within, you know, inmates?
Well, let me quickly clear some of those shots you saw there. They are not shots that were taken from they are not recent. So, they were some of them were taken during that violent suspected Boko Haram element.
Okay,
that
was
that was the last. But coming to the first question you raised, that is the attraction for inmates to always want to all over the world. If you hold anybody against his will, the first thing that comes to his mind is how to leave that that trap, whether through the legal means or through violent means or whatever foul means he can think of. So it is not something that is peculiar to Nigeria's situation. All over the world, inmates will always want to escape. But going forward, I want to see a situation where the authorities now will take an audit, that is vulnerability assessment of custodial facilities across the country, taking into consideration the caliber of inmates you keep in the facility, the structural integrity of the facility, the security enhancers that are available there, the accessibility, and so many other results from environment scanning, socio-political dynamics of the environment. These are things that will aid the authorities at the strategic level to take informed decisions on and policies that they will cascade down to those in the operational and tactical level to operationalize. And when you are doing that, you may want to dig deeper to analyze and identify the strength and opportunities you have in each of the custodial facilities with high security risk, the threat and the weaknesses you also have in those facilities. These are things that will now inform the kind of the caliber of personnel you deploy, the arms and ammunition you deploy, and the structural distress response mechanism you are going to put in place. I want to believe that the management will put these things in place, because whether it's happening in Kogi or in any other state, what is paramount is we should have a system that secures every inmate that is committed to the facility.
Would you subscribe to decentralizing administration of the Nigerian Correctional Service such that you give control of custodial facilities to the state governments? After all, most of the offenders are state offenders.
Well, it's not. I think that question has little or nothing to do.
As an individual who has experience within the system.
Yes, whether I subscribe to it or not, it's immaterial, because it's already a law that states. Because if you look at, if you take the statistics,
so much.
If you take the statistics of inmates we have in our custodial facility, over 85% of them committed state offences, and they are being tried by state judiciary. It's only less than 25% committed federal offences. So if you are now asking whether states should take control of the inmates they keep in custody or not, I think the question is a fallout of the kind of lackluster interest some state governments pay to the management of inmates, their care and support they have in their state. So if we run a system where they take into cognizance that they are responsible for the incarceration of over 85% of the population of inmates in their state, they will pay more attention in terms of providing for the speedy trial of those that are awaiting trial, the reformation and rehabilitation of those that have been found wanting, because every inmate has a date with the society. And what he becomes when he leaves a custodial facility is a product of what was invested in him while he was there. So if we, what do we seek? you gather people either whether for civil offense or whatever. You just lump them, throw them because you know at the end of the day you have little or no investment in there. Yeah. You don't pay anything. So this some of the things that prompted the minister, then to advocate for shifting the responsibility of those class of inmates to state governments.
Mr. Nabore, thank you. I just want 60 seconds from Honorable Fanwo, and then we'll take another 60 seconds from our correspondent. Honorable Fanwo, beyond the prison issue, the jailbreak, we know that Kogi in recent time has experienced rising highway, crimes and all that. Travelers, are waylaid and, kidnapped, and then ransoms are demanded, along the Kogi axis. So how are you tackling that?
We have swung into action. I told you that our security architecture is now from bottom to the top. And with the cooperation of all the security agencies and our local security architecture, we are launching a very, very serious attack on the criminals. Right now, the operation is ongoing, and about like I said, about 100 motorcycles were retrieved from the criminals a couple of days ago, and the criminals are already in the custody of the security agencies. So we are cleansing the state right now of criminals, and we hope that in the next couple of weeks, it will be a different story. The governor is committed to ensuring that every Kogite is safe, and we are doing all of that. To add to this, I would also go back to the issue of the NCOS, especially having listened to the former image maker. I am encouraged because I now know that the NCOS authorities know what to do. All we need to do is to encourage and support them to be able to put those things in place, because you can't have a 21st century custodial center that has no CCTV.
Honorable Fanwo, I'm sorry, I have to interject so that our correspondent can also say a word or so in 30 seconds. Jonathan, what's your advice now, Jonathan, as a reporter on ground?
The present facility is a new one, and it has a very impressive wall, very high wall. But I want to add that we should also endeavor to build technological walls. It's not enough to have these physical buildings. We have to leverage on technology, CCTV, just as been mentioned, and other aspects of technology, so that we'll be able to address some of these things when they happen.
All right.
Go ahead.
We couldn't go through with the conversation on land reform.
Yeah.
And we do apologize that we couldn't go through with that. But that's the size of our package on today's program. We thank you so very much for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. I am Victor Azu.
All right, of course, we'll have to thank all our guests, the Honorable Fanwo and Jonathan Omaja. They both joined us via Zoom from Kogi, and of course, Francis Enabare, former NC Small OS spokesperson. Thank you very much. And I'm Claire Adela Abdulrazak.
I was on the speed lane.
Bye-bye now. I'll see you tomorrow.